Sue, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us why you're running for school board?
I am happy to, and thank you for taking the time to do this interview, Ian. I am running for this school board because I believe in the power of education to shape our future. And I want to be part of that, and I want to help mentor new people to be involved with it. I do believe that I am very qualified for this position. I have been on the school board for the past 5 years, and I'm going to talk about my experience in 3 areas: locally, statewide, and nationally. Locally, like I said, I have been on the school board for 5 years. 2 of those years as board chair, serve on several committees. I am also on several boards, local boards for nonprofits here, the Conrad Mansion. I have been on the Glacier Conservancy Board, so I know how boards operate, and I appreciate the collaboration and cooperation you have to utilize on those boards. I also wanted to say my state experience. I have worked at OPI years ago, right after college, but I have also served on several of their committees with Chapter 55 and Chapter 57, which have to do with setting new standards for teacher certification and school accreditation, both of them very important committees. I am also the president-elect for the Montana State School Board Association and will take office in June, and am looking forward to that, especially since it's a legislative year. Nationally, I have gone to Washington, D.C. to talk with our congressional delegation 2 years in a row now, and we'll be going again this year. And that's part of the State School Board Association. But it's important that Kalispell has a voice on that national level. We have talked a lot of education policies, things that have to do with school nutrition, with school enrollment, funding for special education, a lot of those national issues. So that is a lot of my experience, and I should back up because I forgot one of the most important things. I am a retired teacher. I taught special ed at Flathead High School for many years. I retired 5 years ago and immediately got elected to the school board. So education's in my blood.
So there's been a lot of recent news about the budget struggles of schools in the Flathead. If elected to the school board, what is your plan to address this issue?
Okay, budget struggles, yeah, you are exactly right. They are in the forefront of our mind. A school board has 3 main duties. The first one is to set the vision for the district, it's to find the resources for the district, and then to do the oversight. So our budget struggles have to do with one of our main responsibilities of finding the resources. And school funding, if anybody can understand it, more power to them, because it is very confusing. But the state gives us 80% of our budget, and then local taxpayers are supporting the other 20% of our budget. And we do that with levies. And we have not passed a high school levy since 2007, which, was a long time ago. We have passed elementary levies, but we struggle with the high school levies, and we are asking for one again this year. But some of the issues we have, besides asking for support from our local taxpayers, is we struggle with inflation. The legislature limits us to 3% inflation rates, and our inflation has been in the past much higher than that. So it's difficult for us to keep up with the rising cost of utilities, supplies, foodstuffs. So we have that issue. We also have an issue with our special ed funding. Special education has never been funded the way it was promised and the way it was meant to be. And that's something that I bring to Washington when we go there every year. And the thing with that is we have more and more students being identified for special education services, and we just don't have the resources to deal with it. On top of that, the changes to Medicaid have also restricted our funding from them, because a lot of our special ed services from Medicaid have been cut back because people have been taken off of those rolls. We recently lost our ESSER funding, which was the funding from COVID, and it's not like those services go away. A lot of those ESSER funds were used for student mental health services, and now we have to find different funding for that. So those are the things I'm going to work on this year at the school board.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the Kalispell schools, and how do you plan to address this challenge?
I think our biggest challenge is maintaining our strategic plan moving forward. We have a good direction we are heading in right now, and we have a lot of things that would distract us from that plan. One of them is the funding, which is a big one. The other one is staff recruitment and retention. It's not just teachers, it has to do with finding food service workers, finding para-educators, finding maintenance people, finding administrators as well as teachers. So we have to address those things, and we also have to address strengthening our trust in the community. We were just talking earlier about how we have a very interesting population, but they are people here that, we have to listen to, and we are stronger when we work together. So those are some of our biggest challenges, and I think you'll see a lot of movement on those this coming year.
How will you ensure that student voices, experiences, and values are elevated to the school board when making decisions?
Student voices are something I'm pretty excited about. My whole career has been working with students, and I love the energy and the enthusiasm. I am very glad that we invite students to present at our school board meetings, let us know what's going on. And one of my all-time favorite things to do on the school board is to visit the various schools. We're required to visit every school in our district at least once a year. And so we get to go see what's going on, and it is really fun and exciting to sit with the students and ask them, what are you working on today? And we do that in elementary, we do that in high school, we do that at the LAC, the Alternative High School, we do it at the VOAG Center. So we get quite a broad range of student voices in that. I also believe in mentoring young people. I'm at the end of my career. I won't be on the school board for much longer. And I truly believe in mentoring younger trustees, younger students, and I think it's exciting to watch them. Some of the young people that I watched grow up, we skied with every Saturday, and they're now teaching at Flathead or at Glacier. It's just fun to see those voices. Some school boards actually have a student representative on the board. Most of them are non-voting. And that's something that I have suggested that we look at, and I would probably do that again, bring it up to see if we can get some more student voice in the actual decision-making process. I also stay involved with the students. I have coached tennis in the past 10 years. I coached tennis in Flathead. I judge speech and debate. I go to the plays and the various activities, and I make a point of talking to some of the students. And I think that's important that they know that we listen to them and let them know what their voice has meant to us.
Flathead Pace Academy, Personalized Academic Career Exploration, and Rising Wolf Charter Schools are two of the charter school programs coming to the Flathead. Do you think that these programs will be a positive addition to the opportunities for students? If not, why not? And if so, why so?
I definitely think that these public charter schools, the two, one at Flathead and one at Glacier, will be a positive addition to our school district. For one simple reason is that they emphasize the personalized, competency-based learning that is so important. Things are different from when I was in high school now. We have learned a lot of things, and a lot of it is positive stuff that we've learned. And we know that students all learn differently. They don't all learn best when they sit in a classroom in front of a teacher lecturing. So the PACE Academy at Flathead, it's based on career development and actually getting out of the traditional classroom into the classroom out here in the communities. It's apprenticeships, internships, or work-based learning. That's really important. The Rising Wolf Academy is pretty exciting. It's kind of a block schedule, and their Western Montana University in Dillon uses a very similar schedule where they will schedule students to have one class for 2 or 3 weeks, and they do all that work for that one class during that short time. And the whole idea is to reduce student anxiety, the stress. I mean, they just have one class that they have to worry about: homework, testing, going to class. So I'm very excited about both of those, and the legislature has given us a lot of flexibility in how we run these charter schools, but we still have standards we have to maintain. And one of the biggest things with the charter schools, it empowers the students to design their education. And so we're using that student voice to get them the best education that we can possibly provide.
Do you view student mental health and well-being as a major issue for the trustees to address? If not, why not? And if so, how do you plan to address this issue?
I think student mental health is one of our biggest concerns this year. We have seen a rise in mental health issues with our teenagers and even younger than that. Our mental health services are overloaded right now. And most of them were supported by those ESSER funds that I mentioned earlier. They were established during COVID, and they have gone away, or they will be going away in September. And many of our counseling, our nursing, our suicide prevention programs are all based on that ESSER funding. So we will have to find some additional funding, and that's probably our general fund, which means something else will have to go off of the general fund. And student mental health really affects a lot. If students are struggling with mental health issues, they usually can't access education, instruction. They can't fully participate. And it leads to a lot of different issues. Absenteeism is a big issue right now. And some of that is because of the anxiety, the school anxiety that students are showing. So it will be a huge issue for us, and we will continue to provide services. It's just that we've got to find some money in the general fund or from our levy systems to provide those services.
So this next one is actually a fun one. So what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, my favorite flavor of ice cream is definitely chocolate. But every now and then I have to walk down the street to one of our local ice cream places here, and they have some real interesting flavors, and I love those new flavors that you have.
What are those flavors?
They will have things like with spruce tips in them and chocolate. But yeah, rather unusual flavors. Thank you for asking.
Next question is a fun question. What is your favorite coffee shop or after-school spot that you would go and study or do homework if you were still a student?
If I was still a student, and I believe in lifelong learning, I love taking the classes, and every now and then I do take a class up at the college. And if I had to study, there are two places I would go to. I would go visit Bias Brewery and do some studying there, or I would go right next door to Culture Coffee and have some coffee, because they're closest to my house, so I could just walk there and enjoy some caffeine.
What was your favorite subject in school to study as a student?
My favorite subject in school, I will say it was science. I love the life sciences. I like the physical sciences, biology. In fact, I have a bachelor's degree in recreation resource management, so I studied plants and animals a lot. Plus, we get to do all those cool experiments.
When you were a student in school, did you play a musical instrument? Do you still play that instrument? And if so, what was it?
I played 2 instruments when I was in high school. Of course, I played the mandatory guitar, and I also played the piano. I played piano for years, and I still have a piano sitting in my living room, and every Christmas I play it, and if nobody else is around, I will still play it. The guitar, I don't even know where my guitar is, someplace in the basement, but I was not a very good guitar player, but I certainly did enjoy it. So I have 2 things I want to mention in closing. The first one has to do with AI. And here's where I really appreciate student voice, because AI is a new thing, and it's new for me, but I will say that I have used it to write some things, even some things having to do with this campaign. I use AI. It's a tool we have. I remember when the internet first came into schools, and we were all worried, how are we going to use that? And we have to really watch our students. Well, with AI, we're kind of in the same boat. We don't know a lot about it, but we do know it can be a positive tool, but we have to get a policy set up for it so we can deal with it appropriately and gauge our instruction on how to use it appropriately. So I'm pretty excited about AI, and I also wanted to say that in Kalispell School District, we have a brand new superintendent. Today is his very first day. He's been our assistant superintendent, so he's not a rookie or anything. But we have this strategic momentum going right now with our personalized competency-based learning, and I'm very excited to keep that going. I don't want to be distracted from our strategic plan, and I think that transition to new leadership is going to be crucial in keeping that momentum going. So once again, I am very pleased to be running for the school board again, and I truly believe in the power of education. We can do a lot, but we have to do it together. So thank you for the interview.
Awesome.